Last week, MPs voted on Bill C-13, Canada's amendment to the Official Languages Act, sending it to the Senate for final approval. Only one Liberal MP, Anthony Housefather, voted against it, despite concerns over how it will affect or could affect Quebec's Anglophone minority. Joining us now is Andrew Cadell, President of the Task Force on Linguistic Policy. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Always a pleasure, Caroline.
So leading up to the vote, we were hearing from a handful of Liberal MPs in Quebec that had concerns about the bill over its inclusion of Bill 96 and the notwithstanding clause. But in the end, only Anthony Housefather stood up against it. What did you make of that?
Well, first of all, I give an enormous amount of credit to Anthony because you can be sure it's what they call a whipped vote. This was something where the MPs had a lot of pressure on them, and the Prime Minister may have even promised not to sign their nomination papers. And for those who are parliamentary secretaries like Anthony, their jobs were probably been on the line. I mean, I worked on Parliament Hill, so I know all about this stuff, this sort of stuff. And so yeah, there was a lot of pressure on him, but he stood up, and I give him a huge amount of credit. I don't give any credit for anybody who voted in favor of the bill, and I think that they really have made a terrible, terrible mistake.
The official languages minister last week, Jeanette Petitpas-Taylor, has tried to reassure English-speaking Canadians, saying that C-13 in no way takes away any rights from official minority communities, including Anglophone communities in Quebec. But some say Anglophones have really been thrown under the bus on this by all the parties. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think she's read her own bill, because it's quite obvious with the inclusion of Bill 96 and the notwithstanding clause and the declaration of Quebec as a French-speaking nation within Bill 96, now included in the Official Languages Act, the recognition of there being only one minority in Canada, and that's French Canadians. It shows a huge amount of, it's almost legalized discrimination. And when they talk about no rights being taken away, it means that the rights of Anglophones are now frozen effectively. So if you have a job in a federally regulated company, you can retire, but nobody can take your place who has the same degree of qualifications or the same linguistic standard as you do.
We're coming up to a by-election in NDG Westmount. Of course, the outgoing MP, or the now retired MP, Marc Garneau, said he was okay with this being his hill to die on. Do you think voters in that riding, which does have a lot of Anglophones, could think about this when they go to the polls in that by-election and punish the Liberals for this?
Well, I hope so, but the only problem is there's no real alternative, because the Conservatives in the NDP and the Bloc obviously voted for Bill C-13 in third reading. The Bloc and the Conservatives were extremely involved in its amendments committee, and therefore really there's no alternative. And although the Green Party has said that they're going to fight Bill 96 and maybe Bill C-13, both Elizabeth May and Mike Morris, who are the Green MPs, voted in favor. So that just shows, you don't, we'll take them on the basis of what they've done, not what they're saying.
Your task force has lawyers on it. Are you contemplating possible legal action already?
Well, we're already taking Bill 96 to court, and we'll be announcing our cases at the end of the month. We're very much representing individuals and how the Bill 96 affects their lives. This is very much a David versus Goliath situation with I hope, the same outcome as David versus Goliath. But in terms of Bill C-13, given that it does include this unprecedented and dangerous way a provincial bill that takes away human rights, I think we have to contemplate it seriously.
All right. Andrew Cadell, President of the Task Force on Linguistic Policy, we thank you so much for your time today.
And you can reach us at taskforce.ca, and we can always use the money if we're going to the Supreme Court.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks a lot.